Hi, my name is Kelly Hozan. I am presenting my capstone today, which is titled Trauma Literature, a Unit and Rationale. My trauma literature is going to be an elective that will be used in my current district, which is a rural public school. It'll be geared towards 11th and 12th grade students. The reasons being, not only are 11th and 12th grade students going to have the maturity level that's going to be necessary for a lot of the subject material that's going to be covered in this particular course, but our district is really great in offering a lot of CCP and even AP offerings to our students, which they take advantage of fully, and in doing so, a lot of students are going to fulfill their English requirement by the time they reach their junior year or shortly after their junior year, and this provides a lot of opportunity and schedules for them to fulfill and take other courses, which of course is going to not only open the curriculum for this particular offering, but also it is going to be something that a lot of kids are going to gravitate towards simply because the subject material is going to be encompassing a lot of different ideas and topics, but I have found through the past few years that students are experiencing a lot of mental health questions, topics through social media, through their friends, family, through the pandemic and everything else. And so a lot of the materials I'm going to cover in this particular elective are going to be things that are going to feel familiar to them. And if not familiar, they're going to be things that they definitely have more access than ever to via their Instagram, TikTok, and whatever else profiles they're going to be having at the tips of their fingertips and on their phones. So, like I said, part of the reason for creating this particular course is to give the students something that is going to be very relatable, very familiar to them, but also it's going to be something that I believe a lot of students are going to need, especially when they graduate. We have a lot of great kids in the world and in our school systems, but one thing that every school system seems to promise is to create and develop students who are going to be leaders and good citizens in our world. And one of those components I think that we need is not only to inform and give our students the skills and the tools to be in a lot of different environments and experience a lot of different ways of thinking and seeing different events, but it's also forming empathy. And so this particular course is going to be really geared on those kind of emotional and the social different skill sets are going to be needed, which are going to align not only with the Ohio State Common Core standards in literature, writing, speaking, listening, and language, but also the new standards, which are going to be Ohio social and emotional standards as well. So in my creation of the course, I decided to split my unit into 4 particular areas, or I guess units in themselves. The first one being an intro to trauma. In the Intro to Trauma unit, I am beginning everything just with talking about the power and the form of language itself and the function of language. So to begin with this, we do a lot of activities like the 6-word memoir and just things you're going to feel comfortable with right off the bat. In this first unit, we're going to be going through a lot of the key terms, definitions, and a lot of the key experts in the field. So that's people like Kathy Caruth, Dory Lobb, Judith Herman, and so on and so forth. This is really going to start the framework and the foundation for students to understand kind of the language we're going to be using and referring to throughout. And it really kind of shows them the importance of the act of storytelling and the act of the shortage of language at times and the kind of richness of language and what it can do, and more than ever the responsibility of the listener and not just the victim in these cases, because I think that a lot of our students, and we've had a lot of different things from our social workers, and they're just published online that you could always access through my unit if you'd like. But it shows that a lot of our students, if they have not already experienced moments or aspects of trauma in their lives today, they will eventually experience those things sometime in their future, whether it's the death of a loved one or experiencing some sort of like abusive relationship or just like a mental health crisis in general. So because of this, it's important that they not only understand and are able to have the story of the victim come out, but they know what it takes to be somebody that's willing to listen and be a witness to other people's stories and how to do that for them. So after we establish that introduction and the basis, I then transitioned to war trauma. I chose to do war trauma as the next unit because it is one of the more, this sounds cringy, but it's a more comfortable form of trauma in regards that a lot of students have, of course, they know roughly what war is, they know what it involves, they've had lots of history courses with war, and so this provides more of an easy kind of transition and lens to talking about some of the harder conversations. So this particular unit, I have really great text like Art Spiegelman's Mouse, I have a lot of poetry collections, I have Tim O'Brien's The Things I Carried, and I end things with a field trip to the Eddie Adams workshop. From here, I go to a physical and public trauma unit. And of course, like it's as it sounds, it talks more about physical traumas, like things you can see on the, just kind of with your eyes in the world, and of course in the public sphere. This particular unit is going to involve work such as Welcome to Marwin, which is based off of Mark Hogenkamp's True Story and True Events. It has Jonathan Safran Foer's Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, Louise Erdrich's Love Medicine, Audre Lorde's The Cancer Journals, and Dave Cullen's Columbine. This obviously is going to delve more into, like I said, things that kids could usually see or experience on a daily basis, like cancer, sicknesses, school shootings, and so on and so forth, before we transition to our very final unit, which is kind of building that level of complexity, and it's going to be our mental and private trauma unit. So in this particular unit, obviously we're going to deal with things that are not always going to be easy for the outsiders to see or even witness on those levels, and are going to require a lot more kind of intimate revelations and experiences and conversations. This particular unit includes short story collections from Hemingway, Glassfell, Faulkner, and Gilman. We have the text Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar and Dorothy Allison's 2 or 3 Things I Know for Sure. And like I said, this is of course going to really end the course with those really deep conversations, insights, and more of the kind of intimate traumas we're always going to see and talk about. So I'm really, really excited about this course. The great thing and the opportunity to create such a capstone is not only to create a course that I feel very passionate about, and I believe a lot of students will as well, but it is going to be something that I know I can now present to my district, and I have all things ready for them to show the value and the worth that it's going to bring, and they seem to be very excited about it so far. I want to thank everybody in the University of Akron English department for all just the great experiences, the support, and the guidance you provided up until this point. And I can't wait to reach out again in the future, take some more classes probably, and let you guys know how this goes. Thank you so much.